Congratulations, you made it on a holiday week. I am so glad you're here. Imagine, if you will, sassy little kindergarten girl in her white go-go boots telling all her friends that could barely read, including herself, I'm going to write a book one day. And all my little kindergarten friends that thought they were so cool said, you can barely read. Well, you know what? Dreams do come true. And I want you to know tonight we are going to save you time, money, and heartache. And I want you to know we have an amazing guest. We will get to that. I want you to let us know in the chat, in the comments, where you're chiming in from. If you took a dart and threw it right at the U.S., I'm right in the middle, Oklahoma, and the wind truly does come sweeping down the plains. We are getting ready to celebrate a holiday here in the States, and we know that we are called for such a time as this. And just because there's one day holiday doesn't mean we take the whole week off. Now, for those of you who may not know me, my name is Bren Harris, and I founded Warrior Moms by Bren, now the Warrior Nation. When my son was medically injured at 22 months of age, he was just a baby. Oh my gosh. And in those 15 plus years, we have walked straight through hell. And now we walk out of there and take water back to those still in the fire. And let me tell you what, the holidays are not always easy. You throw in a special needs child and it's like rocket fuel and a blowtorch. So I am here to say, you are called for such a time as this. And we have an amazing guest. We're going to go way back in the Wayback Machine. If you're just joining us, let us know in the comments where you're chiming in from. Oh, hey guys, Brooklyn, New York. We have Atlanta. We have San Francisco and Seattle. Strong Island. Great to see you. Dallas, Texas. Oh, Oklahoma, right down the street. So happy to see you guys. And I love that we get to come together and just kind of pull back the curtain, because I know that I know of you guys. I don't know all of you. And please, if you know someone with a special needs child, please let them know this is their place. You belong right here. We are for all parents, and we know that there's no user manual. Now we're going to go way back. This is probably 2008, and brace yourself. Here we go. This is how Warrior Mom started. At the kitchen table, we had just PCS from Japan, and we were staying with an older relative. No, that kitchen had not been updated since the 70s. I had my hot tea and my MacBook and little baby Zach. Now you'll see why that's such a special picture. Because fast forward almost 17 years later, this is us on our recent medical trip that we take each month. And he has the big ear defenders, and he is diagnosed on the autism spectrum, level 3, yet to be very verbal. And what I'm learning is that this guy knows more than I could ever know. He picks up Japanese because he was born in Japan, just like that. He'll say a word that we've only practiced once, and he'll use it appropriately the next day. I'm like, oh, konnichiwa, good afternoon. And it's so exciting to see those milestones, you guys. And it's not all a bed of roses. We have had a really challenging season. Hear me, warriors. If you're in that challenging season with your children, with your relatives, just know that this is your life. Life is too short to be worried about the other side of the street. My sanity tip for the holidays is let's stay in our own lane. A rising tide lifts all boats. And I mean that for real. When I'm focused on what I'm called to do, I'm walking in purpose, I'm championing my calling, I'm habit stacking, and I'm checking those things off the list every single day. Everyone else seems to do better in my orbit in the house. So thank you guys again. We would have never hit bestseller without you. And this is the best-selling author picture you guys chose by a landslide, like 90% of you. We had hundreds of votes. So thank you for taking time to do that. And then for those of you wondering, these are the bestsellers. And we're going to talk to one of the people behind the success of these books tonight. The Major and the Musician, A Warrior Mom Mystery. I mentioned my son was born in Japan. Well, this tiny little island about 1,000 miles south of Tokyo, 4,000 miles west of Honolulu, Hawaii. And it's a small little, it's a chain of islands, about 70 islands. And we were on the main one. And it's so amazing to think that I brought a life into the world in a military hospital. I would have never dreamt that in a million years. And Everyone that's been stationed there in the military always says we can't wait to go back. The food is incredible. There's a zero crime. It's all about honor and honoring your ancestors and living with integrity. I mean, it's just, and the organic food there is just amazing. They don't have all the pesticides that we have here. And so the Major and the Musician is set on the island of Okinawa, and you get to have sort of a behind the scenes take. We're taking you through Shuri Castle and all the tunnels and all the fun stuff. And I'm a firm believer. People go, we thought it would be a memoir. Well, no. If you do not like mystery, suspense, and intrigue with a dash of romance, this is probably not the work for you. We're doing a chapter of mystery, and at the end, we have a life application lesson, and it's super short because we know your time is valuable. And those life lessons get recorded in the journal. And this is the Warrior Mom Journal, Volume 1. Now, this is not the place to go, oh, I wore a pink sweater and a gray suit and the weather was partly sunny. No, this is a place for you to unpack your dreams. Imagine with me, if you will, that one thing, the one thing that you always said you were going to do, and then life started lifing. We get married, we have children, we have jobs, we have mortgages, and that one thing keeps hanging out on the back burner. And this is your time. You are called for such a time as this, and we want you to come over to the Warrior Nation and realize your dream. Now, when I say save you money, when I say save you heartache, for years, I thought I would write a book, and I had notebook after notebook after notebook, scraps of paper. It kind of looked a little bit like this, just ideas and outlines. And then I met this team, and it was like the clouds parted, the sun was shining, and the angels were singing. And it didn't happen overnight. They just learned my personality and learned my best method to bring that book out of me. Now, that might not be for you. And if you're thinking that little voice, that grown-up voice saying, you don't have time, you have too much to do. You have time. We all have the same 24 hours. And I love what Jim Clear says about, habit stacking, get 1% better every day. I found myself getting up 30 minutes earlier than everyone in the house, stay up 30 minutes later. And I just took this and dictated a lot of it and just, talked about my book, and then it transcribed it, and then I was able to edit. And I love that there are tips and tricks where we can do this. Now, I believe everyone deserves to have a reward. Our motto here is work first, then reward. Work first, then reward. And we learn words by sign language. And one of our words tonight is going to be clarity. And it is like the clouds parting, just like that. Super easy. Clarity. Clarity. When we're clear on who we are and what we're about, no one has to guess. And we don't end up frustrated because our tribe is not attracting. And that's what our guest is so good at. Please let us know in the chat. We have North Dakota and Houston. Oh, good to see you guys. Oh, we have yes. One of our team said audio recording and transcription is key when you're writing a book. Thank you, guys. Great to see you. And we have Trinidad in the house. We also have Kansas City. Great to see you guys. And I'm going to not steal our guest thunder, and we're gonna bring him on right now. Hey, Winston, did you make the live?
I did. Can you hear me, Bren?
Yes, excellent. Awesome. So glad you're here.
What's going on, everyone? Good night.
It's great to see you. And as I said, Winston is part of that amazing team that catapulted both of my books to bestseller. And can you tell us a little bit about who is Winston Broderick and what brought you to this point?
Absolutely. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for having me. Congrats on your 150th episode. That's absolutely amazing. As someone who also, has a podcast and a channel, I can tell you I know what it takes to get to 150 episodes. So congrats to you and to your community and what you guys are building.
Thank you for being here.
No, absolutely. All right. So no, thank you. My name is Winston Broderick. I grew up in Jamaica before coming here to the US. I came when I was about 7 years old, and that transition was actually a very pivotal one to my development. It was a huge culture shock. And during that season of my life, one of the, or some of the turning points that came up gave me a huge realization that, no one was coming to rescue me. I had gone through some bullying, some different things in terms of adjusting to speaking the language here. But what I really gained from that period of my season of my life was I started to have an understanding that you can really become the person you need to be. As I listen to you share your story with what you've gone through with your son, it kind of relates to some of that. You've, through that journey with him, has become the person that you need to be to, steward what you're doing right now. And so I definitely resonate with a lot of what you were saying there. And, that's been my journey. I'm now a father, CEO, and I want to say a conscious entrepreneur. Someone who's always out there looking to better myself and better others with what I'm learning as I continue to develop myself.
Oh, that's really, really amazing. And just so you guys know, when they brought Winston in to do the editing, I gave them such a hard time. I had 20 questions. Who is this person? What's he going to do? Is he going to change everything we just worked on? And it was so funny. They're like, why don't you just talk to him? And I mean, the first time we spoke, I'm like, okay, yes, this is the one. And the transformation from what I thought was a published ready book to what you brought to the table was 180-degree different. And so what did you find when you found that you were becoming, did you guys catch that? Become the person you need in the situation? What brought you, I mean, you've done a number of things in your life and been very successful. What brought you to the publishing world?
Thank you. Yeah. Well, if I guess we can go back in the Wayback Machine, like you said, and it started around the pandemic. I had been transitioning from my personal training business. I used to work for a company, and with the pandemic, gyms shut down, and so I had to pivot and find some or find ways to take advantage of the skills that I had. And we had been a part of a network marketing company, and we saw some dips in that business as well. But one of the benefits from my time in that was I had a lot of mentors, and one of them presented an opportunity to co-author a book with him. And one of the things he talked about, his name was Matt Morris. One of the things Matt talked about was the idea of, he gave like a very simple example. He said, imagine you're in a business and you have two experts come up in front of the room and talk. And at the end of it, one of them says, well, everything I talked to you guys about today is in my book. He goes, who in that example has more authority? And for me, it was like an immediate click. I was like, yeah, the person who comes up and says, hey, yeah, you can get my book and find out more about this topic, to me would have more authority. And, I'd done a lot of things, like you said, real estate broker, have had some success there, ranked in a network marketing company, top trainer. But I recognized my authority was very limited because everything that I was doing was I had to be there in order to, to pass that information on or pass that skill on. And with a book, you could not be there and have your presence and have your authority felt by others. And so I partnered with him, went through that project, co-authored my book. They helped me make that book a bestseller. And what came from that, though, I didn't have, and this is some of the benefits that or just lessons I've learned now as we've partnered with different people, like Missing Piece with Melissa and her team. I didn't know what to do once I put a book out. I honestly, the process I was a part of was only set up to help me produce a book, but I didn't understand what it meant to step on a platform like you're doing, what you're doing right now, how to coach people, how to take my book and turn it into something that could really help people. And it was a blessing because my friend and business partner and CEO as well, Janelle Villiers, she then decided to write a book about a part of her life and asked me to help her edit and, review. And I was essentially one of her beta readers. And through that process, Janelle wrote herself a book, started having a lot of people reach out to her, asking her how she got self-published. She went a different route than I did with a company. And from a lot of conversations, we had been hosting a podcast show at the time. So the partnership just made sense because we'd essentially spent years having conversation and dialogue around what we're doing and how we can grow and help others. And from that and her putting out her book, Say That Publishing was born.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I am very thankful Say That Publishing was born. Very thankful. And I don't know if you guys caught that, Warriors. When we find ourselves on a career path and something like a pandemic happens or the market crashes or the government shuts down or whatever, as entrepreneurs, we look ahead and we pivot. And I don't know about you guys. I hear Ross in my head, pivot, because if we don't pivot, we get left behind. And I really like how you described that. And please let us know what was the number one struggle about that pivot?
Struggle. I don't know. I don't think there was necessarily a struggle. It's the challenging times of starting anything. It's not in not having been there before. There are blind spots that you don't see as you're building something. I know during some of the during our years in network marketing, we learned a lot about building the plane in the air, and they use different analogies to talk about what it's like to actually grow a business, what it looks like to scale. And neither Janella or myself had ever been been a part of a publishing company. So what did that look like? And we essentially had to take it back to its roots and start where we first recognized we needed help and take care of the services that we found that we would have wanted to have when we were putting together our book. I looked at the experience I had and recognized that there were some gaps in, I guess, the way I think that product is put forward. And there is a sense of, there wasn't a community, it was me essentially writing something, emailing it to somebody, having them edit it and send it back to me. I never had an opportunity to speak to someone. It's certainly different than the process that you and our other best-selling authors have gone through. And we essentially looked at the pain points that we had and designed something that, again, we look at ourselves as the customers. Like, what would we want to be a part of? How would we want to be communicated with? So I don't know. I think we're blessed to have learned that there really aren't any problems, maybe more challenges. And those are all things that can or will eventually resolve themselves if you continue to look at yourself as the product of a product. You know what I mean? So once we took that viewpoint, I think it made it a lot easier. And again, we've done a lot of, call it personal development, but we've been blessed to, over a decade, have been around a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs. And the biggest thing about being in this space is your mindset. You have to, yes, life can and will be challenging, and yet you are strong enough to go on. You are strong enough to overcome that stuff. And that's what it means to be an entrepreneur. It's not because I get to make my own schedule. It's not, it's not the title on the bottom of the, scrolling by. It's the fact that I have to constantly be vigilant in my mindset and recognize that you're an entrepreneur in life. It's this thing you have to get yourself set up to succeed in. And so when we look at our business, we're careful with the language we use. And so it's going to consistently bring us different things that are going to ask us to grow in new ways. And that's what we're signing up for every day when we do this.
Oh, and you guys, I've seen this in action. And Winston, I really, really want to point out, when we pivot to be an entrepreneur, we stop trading time for dollars. We don't need to be present when our product sells itself. And Absolutely. That's really important. And what I love, you guys listen up, hear me, warriors. What I love about this team for Say That Publishing and Missing Pieces Virtual that helps with the marketing piece, everyone brings a different skill set to the table, and they're just a text or phone call away. If you try to sign right off the bat with no track record with a larger company, you won't have that. Like Winston mentioned his first experience, you email it to someone, then they email it back. We are craving community and connection since, the pandemic in 2020. And I want you guys to know this is the real deal. This is how it looks on our editing meetings. It's not you do this, it's I feel like this needs to go this way. What do you guys think?
What are your thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And all that personal development gets in one Zoom. And I really like that. Now we're gonna transition just a little bit, and then we're gonna come back. You guys stay tuned because I want you to be able to take advantage of their free masterclass that's coming up. We're gonna pivot just a little bit, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
we had already completed the book, The Major and the Musician. You guys saw that earlier, and most of the journal, not all of it. And and Winston came on board and changed our lives. I have to admit, I'm gonna really brag on you, Winston. I found myself feeling under the gun to do the audio recording, and I recorded a couple of chapters, and I'm like, I don't think this is the final draft because it didn't have that wow factor that your editing brought to it. And I went back and I'm like, oh, this is not the final draft. Okay. And then I love how it comes alive. Now, go back. I know it's been a few months. What's your one big takeaway from The Major and the Musician, A Warrior Mom Mystery?
Oh, what a good question. You know, as much as I know we enjoyed working on the story and developing the character in the book, I honestly want to say it was working with you. The aspects of who you are, and this is, like I said, why I really love how we do our process. It's about taking the author and really putting their voice in the characters and in the book, and you get to do that through the type of editing that we do, because we're on these meetings and because we're having all this, I mean, we're spending 90 days almost like on an island in a sense, because we're having this close communication. Yeah. And through that kind of back and forth, you get a sense of a person. And there's such a resilience that you have that I started to understand as we were on these meetings, as I was learning more about Zach and what your life is like, that as we start to shape the characters in the book, some of that kind of bleeds into the work that we're doing. And, so for me, I think it was really getting to know you and your family and your life, and kind of taking that and putting it in, transcribing it into the characters that we have in the story, and having that be the thing. I would say you.
Thank you for that insight, because I feel the same about you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we would try to do a meeting on a certain day, and he's like, my son has track. I'm coaching him. Yeah. I'm working out. I'm like, it's such respect for your dedication. And guys, I'm not exaggerating. It was like we had this, I don't know what's a funny little first car, this little Chevy car, and then by the end we had a Rolls Royce. And it was just the transformation without changing the story. The transformation.
Yes.
Staying true to the story. Now, guys, I'm a firm believer. We're not going to sit here and woe is me. Here's my story, because when we were doing all of this, it was one of the toughest seasons with my son. Puberty was in full force. Puberty and autism, rocket fuel and a blowtorch. Yeah. And then we have wisdom teeth pain. And so we couldn't figure out what was going on. And my oasis of sanity were those editing meetings where we could say, hey, I really feel like this needs to go here. What do you guys think? And they weren't telling me how to do my book. They were suggesting and guiding. Everyone on there was like that. So props to Say That Publishing and Missing Piece Virtual. And thank you for being careful not to do any spoiler alerts. If you guys are on the live, put an L. If you're on the replay, put an R. And if you're getting value, I mean, I'm getting value, and I've talked to Winston a number of times. Put value in the chat, in the thing, down below. And we're going to transition. We're going to dig a little deeper as you guys bring each of your expertise and all your resilience in your respective lives to the table, and all this personal development we learned in direct sales and network marketing and entrepreneurial world. Um, what
Mhm.
what's the next step for you guys, and how can people learn more from you off outside of this podcast?
Um, the next step is really providing a top-notch service or a white glove service. The we're a brand new company. We're still in our first year, and although we have now, I think, 11 best-selling authors that we've been able to help, and that's been an absolute blessing. And it's because of people like you, like I said, authors like you, who we've been blessed to have. It's really just being able to, and with full transparency, there were times where there weren't things that we delivered on that we said we would. There were misunderstandings about different systems that we use, whether it be KDP or Ingram Sparks, just some of the different language that goes on with our world. But at the end of the day, it's about becoming better than what we were in this first 3/4 of our business. Obviously, yeah, we want to scale. We have aspirations to design technology around what we do so that we can
Mhm.
provide better avenues for our authors to earn an income. And so we have aspirations for all those things. But I want to say at the end of the day, it's just about getting in front of the next person who we can help bring their voice and put it, help them tell their story. Every day, if we can just go out and connect with somebody else that has a story but doesn't believe they have the right to share their story, or don't even may not even know the language to put forth to put their story out. And so, like you mentioned, we have a master class that's coming up December 8th and 9th. My business partner Janelle and Miss Melissa from Missing Piece will be on that master class. We're offering a scholarship, which is incredibly cool. I know all the details we're gonna put forth, and I know it'll be in the description, but really what I want to say is it's a free masterclass. You guys are going to have an opportunity to learn a lot. There's so much value that Janelle brings um, when she puts these events, when her and Melissa put these events on. So I definitely just want to get as many people to the masterclass as possible. You still have time to get that book out of your head and onto a piece of paper before the
Mhm.
year is out. So definitely join us at our masterclass on December 8th.
Oh, that's great. Guys, the link is in the chat, and when I repost it as a reel, it will also be there too. And this is a free masterclass. The value is off the charts. And it's
Absolutely.
2 different days. And the
Yes,
time
the
just
Monday and
flies
the Tuesday.
by. And what are those dates again, sir?
The 8th and the 9th of December.
Okay, December 8th and 9th. Save that date on your calendar. Also, check the link that will be in the comments when we repost this as a reel, because that scholarship is over $12,000. It is
Say
worth
that.
every penny, you guys. I am not joking. Jump through all the hoops, do everything on the checklist. And I mean, to me, I'm just like, I can hear the angels singing when you and Janelle talk about that scholarship. So, um,
Yeah.
now, if people want to know more, where
Yeah.
can they find you or reach you?
They can email us directly at saythatmedia1@gmail, and the one is saythatmedia and the number one at gmail.com. And they could actually book, if they want to have a one-on-one conversation, they can go directly to jvillierspartnership.com. And if they want to look at specifically anything in regards to our publishing, they can go to jvillierspartnership.com/say that publishing.
Okay.
.com.
And all of this is in the comments when we repost the reel. So don't
Yeah.
worry if you're not getting that written down. I will get this information to you guys. And one thing that I love
Yeah.
is you feel so laid back, even when things get creative differences happen. You feel so laid back and so confident. What do you attribute that to in your life?
I it's, I want to say it's my meditation, but I want to say it's my mantra. You know, life is always working out for you.
Oh,
I
I
was
love that.
actually just talking to Janelle about that today, and we were talking about this. There's a book I'm reading, The Surrender Experiment, and the guy just talks about, and we've all read these books. It's like when you look back at your life, there's so many things that we panicked through and we fretted and we just worried about, and I mean, it's all working out for you. It really
Oh,
is. And so yeah, so sometimes and don't get me wrong, in the moment I may still react to something, but if I can, come back to who I really am and just take a moment and breathe. And sometimes that's why you'll see me, and Bren can literally attest to this. I'll mute myself and I'm just sitting there and you're like, oh, he's not even talking. And it's because I really have to be like, just get back to who you are, get back to who you are. Because life is about your emotions. And if we let that just run our lives, then it just makes us a very uncomfortable ride. So yeah, just life is
oh,
always working out for you.
oh, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so,
Yeah.
so much for being
No,
here.
thank you.
150th episode, the first man to ever be on the Bren Harris podcast. Thank you.
We did it, Mom.
Really appreciate you. Hug your beautiful bride and your son for
Thank
us.
you.
And just know that we appreciate who you're becoming.
Thank you so much.
Be
Be well,
blessed.
you guys.
Guys, I'm so excited to have you here. If you got value, let us know in the comments. If you have questions for Say That Publishing, we will get those answered. And no, I want you to think of that one thing that you always wanted to do, but the grown-up part of us just keeps going, oh, that's when I was a kid. Do that one thing. And I want to encourage you, go to this website, get the $12,000 scholarship, and write your masterpiece. I can't recommend this group more than I already have. And I love that together we really are stronger. Now, listen, I won't claim to have all the answers. I will not claim to have all the answers. That's really important. I'm here, I'm figuring this out along the way, just like you are. And what I love is that it isn't always about arriving, it's about who we become along the way, hitting that goal. And I am not the same, I am nowhere near the same person I was before my son was diagnosed. I'm nowhere near the same person I was before I wrote 2 books and they hit bestsellers because of the team I surrounded myself with, not because of anything I did. Now, listen, hear me, warriors. I know you have a book idea. I know you have something written down. I know that's always a way far off wish. The time is now. The time is now. And this is your season. You are called for such a time as this. And I want you to walk in purpose and champion your calling so that in 30 days you can look back and go, yeah, I learned so much on that podcast. It gave me the confidence to check out this website and actually write my book. And I want you to know the view from here is amazing and we're just getting started. I'm Bren Harris, the Warrior Mom with The Warrior Nation, your source for truth, transparency, and trust. Warriors, unite.